Have you ever noticed how a woman's silence can echo louder than her words? One day she is warm, present, engaged, and the next distant, unreadable, almost as if you no longer exist. For many men, this shift feels like a storm they cannot control. They panic, they chase, they beg for clarity. But here's the truth that few ever hear. The way you respond in these moments will define not only your relationships, but your entire life as a man. In this video, we're going to walk through 9 powerful lessons, principles, rooted in timeless Stoic wisdom that show you how to stand strong when she pulls away. Lessons about self-mastery, discipline and purpose. Lessons that turn silence into clarity, rejection into redirection, and heartbreak into fuel for growth. So, if you've ever felt powerless in the face of distance, stay with me. Because what you're about to learn will change not just how you deal with women, but how you lead yourself. And before we dive in, if this is your first time here, remember to subscribe to this channel. Hit like and share this video with someone who needs it. Together we rise stronger. 1. Level up. So hard, she regrets it. There's a truth most men don't want to hear, but I'll say it plainly. The only revenge worth taking is success. Not angry words, not emotional games, not proving her wrong with desperate actions. No, the kind of revenge that leaves no scars, no shame, no doubt is to become the man you were meant to be all along. When she pretends not to care, it cuts deep. It makes you feel disposable, like all the effort and love you poured into her suddenly meant nothing. But here's the secret, that pain is fuel. You can either let it burn you down, or you can use it to forge yourself into something stronger, sharper, untouchable. The Stoics teach us that adversity is not the enemy, it's the opportunity. When life wounds you, it also hands you the tools to rebuild. Her distance, her silence, her indifference. That is your wake-up call, not to chase her, but to chase your own potential. So you rise. You start with the body because discipline in the body strengthens discipline in the mind. You wake earlier. You push harder. Every rep in the gym becomes a way of telling yourself, I refuse to stay broken. Then you sharpen your mind. You read. You study. You invest in skills that will carry you far beyond the need for anyone's approval. And you build your purpose, the mission that gives your life meaning, the kind of mission no woman can take away from you. And here's the beautiful irony. While she expected you to spiral, she will eventually see the opposite. She'll notice your silence, your focus, your transformation, and regret will creep in. Not because you tried to make her regret it, but because you outgrew the version of yourself she thought she could play games with. But understand this clearly. My friend, this isn't about her. It was never about her. It's about you becoming so complete, so alive, so aligned with your true purpose that her games become irrelevant. Success is not just revenge, it is redemption. It's the moment you no longer need her validation, because you've built a life so powerful you wouldn't trade it for her attention. That's how you win. By rising so high, her memory is just a footnote in your story of transformation. 2. Guard your inner dialogue. Let me tell you something most men overlook. The greatest battles are not fought in relationships in workplaces or on city streets. The greatest battles are fought in the silence of your own mind. And if you lose there, you lose everywhere else. When a woman pulls away or pretends not to care, the first enemy you face isn't her distance, it's the voice in your head. That voice whispers, maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I should have tried harder. maybe I'll never find someone like her again. And if you feed that voice, it will eat you alive. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The story you tell yourself becomes the reality you live. If you convince yourself you are broken, you will act broken. If you tell yourself you are abandoned, you will live like you are less. But if you train your mind to speak with discipline, clarity, and respect, you rise. Guarding your inner dialogue doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means refusing to let those feelings define you. When your thoughts start spiraling towards self-doubt, you pause. You remind yourself, her behavior is not a measure of my worth. My value doesn't depend on her attention. And then you replace that thought with one rooted in strength. I am building. I am learning. I am becoming. This discipline of thought is like weightlifting for the soul. At first it feels heavy. The lies of insecurity feel stronger than the truth. But over time, you grow. And eventually, your inner voice becomes your greatest ally, not your worst enemy. Remember this. She can take her time, her attention, even her presence. But she cannot take your mind unless you hand it over. Guard it fiercely. Because the man who controls his inner dialogue becomes untouchable no matter who walks away. 3. Treat silence as an answer. One of the hardest lessons for a man to accept is this: silence is an answer. You don't need a speech, an explanation, or closure wrapped in pretty words. Her behavior already told you the truth louder than any message ever could. Think about it. When she was excited about you, you didn't wonder. She showed it. Her energy carried warmth. Her presence was consistent. You felt it in her effort. And now when the warmth has faded, when her voice has grown cold, when her texts are dry or absent, you also feel it. That's not confusion. That's confirmation. Most men trip here. They start chasing after clarity. They ask, "Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Do you still care?" But let me be honest, those questions are not strength. They are surrender. They hand her all the power, as if her silence is the judge of your worth. The Stoics teach us that we must deal with reality, not illusions. Reality isn't hidden in excuses like, "She's busy" or "She's confused." Reality is written in her effort, or her lack of it. And when effort disappears, the truth has already been spoken. So what do? You accept it. You let her silence be the end of the sentence, not because you are bitter, not because you stopped caring, but because you respect yourself too much to beg for crumbs. Understand this: begging for clarity from someone who already decided to withhold it is like knocking on a locked door that was never yours to open. The more you pound, the smaller you become. The more you wait, the more you bleed dignity. A man of strength doesn't demand an explanation. He reads the silence, nods, and redirects. He saves his words for those who have earned them. He saves his presence for those who value it. Her silence is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one where you no longer waste time trying to decode someone's absence, but instead invest in your own presence. So the next time you're tempted to beg for answers, pause, breathe, and remember her silence already told you everything you needed to know. 4. Redefine your circle. Let me share something that few men truly grasp until life forces them to see it. The company you keep shapes the man you become. If the people around you are weak, distracted, or toxic, their energy bleeds into yours. And when a woman pulls away or pretends not to care, you'll notice how quickly loneliness exposes the cracks in your circle. Because here's the truth, most men try to handle heartbreak or confusion alone. They withdraw into silence, into late-night scrolling, into endless overthinking. But isolation without purpose is dangerous. That's why the Stoics often spoke of the importance of choosing companions wisely. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." I'd add the soul also becomes dyed with the company it keeps. When she steps back, it's not just a test of your emotional strength, it's a test of your environment. Do you have men around you who will challenge you, who will remind you of your worth when you forget it? Who will not let you sink into self-pity? Or are you surrounded by people who numb the pain with distractions, telling you to drink it away? Chase another woman, or waste time instead of growing. Redefining your circle means elevating your standards, not just in relationships but in friendships, mentors, and even family ties. Find men who hold you accountable, who won't let you abandon your discipline, who push you to grow when you feel like collapsing. Surround yourself with those who sharpen you, not those who dull your edge. Because here's the reality. When your circle is strong, no one woman's silence can shake you. When your circle is wise, you rise instead of crumble. And when your circle is aligned with growth, her games become irrelevant. Because you're too busy becoming. So ask yourself, who around me is adding strength to my life and who is quietly subtracting it? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, good. That's your sign. It's time to redefine your circle. 5. Remind her she's replaceable. Here's a paradox. My friend, the strongest message you can ever send to a woman who pretends not to care is not anger, not arguments, not even carefully crafted speeches. It's silence. It's transformation. It's the quiet indifference of a man who refuses to beg for a place in her world. When she withdraws, she's not just testing your patience, she's testing your identity. She wants to see if you'll scramble to prove yourself, if you'll bend your dignity for her attention. Most men fail here. They write long messages. They explain, they plead, they argue. But all of that only teaches her one thing, that her absence has power. The Stoic man responds differently. He doesn't fight for her approval. He fights for his own evolution. Instead of asking, "Why doesn't she want me?" he asks, "Why did I let myself need her?" And in that shift, the game changes. You remind her she's replaceable without saying a single word, by living as though she already is. You channel your energy into growth, into progress, into a life that no longer revolves around her moods. You sharpen your body, strengthen your mind, refine your discipline. You show up to life with purpose so clear that her silence becomes background noise. And here's the irony. While you're busy rising, she notices. She sees the glow, the focus, the momentum. And deep down, her ego whispers a confession she'll never admit out loud. I lost him. Not because you told her, not because you rubbed it in her face, but because you lived in a way that made the truth undeniable. Understand this. It's not about revenge. It's not about punishing her. It's about clarity. By refusing to chase by, refusing to explain, by refusing to collapse, you show her, and more importantly yourself, that no one holds the keys to your worth but you. A man who rises in silence, who lets his progress do the talking, becomes unforgettable. Not because he demanded to be remembered, but because he made himself impossible to ignore. 6. Do nothing. Most men can't handle silence. The moment a woman grows cold, pulls away, or pretends not to care, their instincts scream, "Do something. Fix it. Send another text. plan another date, explain yourself. But here's the truth. Every time you react, you confirm her power. The Stoics understood that discipline is not found in action alone. It is found in restraint. Sometimes the strongest move is no move at all. When she withholds attention, she expects you to scramble. She expects you to fight for what's slipping away. That's the game. But when you do nothing, when you hold steady, when you let the silence breathe, you break the pattern. Think of it like this. Her withdrawal is bait. If you bite, she knows she controls the rhythm. If you don't, she's left staring at her own emptiness. And that unsettles her far more than your chasing ever could. Doing nothing doesn't mean you stop living. It doesn't mean sulking, waiting, or hiding in despair. No, it means redirecting, while she wonders if you'll break. You invest in yourself. You train. You read. You focus. You build. You let your absence speak louder than words, clearer than confrontation. And something interesting happens when you practice this stillness. The power shifts. You're no longer reacting to her mood swings. You're no longer tied to her emotional weather. You've shown yourself that your peace is not negotiable, that no one can drag you into chaos unless you allow it. Do nothing, and you discover the freedom she never expected you to have, the freedom to walk away without bitterness, to rise without validation, to master yourself when everything around you tries to pull you off balance. Remember, inaction is not weakness. In the right moment, it is supreme strength. For the man who does nothing with calm purpose is the man who cannot be moved. 7. Replace her energy without apology. One of the hardest truths for a man to face is this. The energy you once gave her doesn't just disappear when she pulls away. It sits inside you, restless, looking for a place to go. And most men make the mistake of letting that energy rot. They sit in their rooms, replaying old conversations, scrolling through memories, wondering what went wrong. That's not healing. That's decay. The Stoics taught us that energy, like time, is precious. Once spent, you never get it back. So when a woman withdraws, the challenge isn't just to let go, it's to redirect. Take every ounce of effort you once poured into her and invest it where it multiplies into your growth, your friends, your mission. This is not betrayal. It is survival. It's not disloyalty, it's discipline. Because loyalty to someone who has already stepped away is just another form of self-betrayal. A man who respects himself knows that his energy must circulate, not stagnate. So what does this look like in practice? It means calling the friends you neglected while you were chasing her attention. It means showing up to the gym with a fire that turns heartbreak into muscle. It means diving back into the side project, the skill, the business idea you abandoned when you made her your priority. Every drop of attention you wasted trying to keep her is now fuel to elevate yourself. And here's the irony: while you're rebuilding, she will notice. She'll sense the absence of your attention. She'll feel the silence where your energy once flowed. And slowly regret creeps in. Not because you tried to make her regret it, but because you stopped bleeding your power into someone who no longer valued it. But this must be clear: you don't replace her energy to provoke her. You don't do it as a performance. You do it because your life deserves momentum, and your purpose deserves loyalty more than any woman ever could. So never apologize for shifting your focus. Never feel guilty for moving forward. The man who refuses to waste his energy on the unavailable is the man who becomes unstoppable. Replace her with growth. Replace her with discipline. Replace her with purpose. Because that's how you prove not to her, but to yourself, that your energy was never hers to own. It was always yours to master. 8. Focus relentlessly on your goals. Let me tell you something that few men realize until they've been broken by love or distracted by someone's moods. Your mission must always come before her emotions, her smiles, her silences, her sudden distance. They cannot be the compass of your life, because the day you make her your mission is the day you lose yourself. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca once wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere," and that is the trap many men fall into. They scatter their focus. They give their attention to every flicker of affection, every change in her tone, every unread message. They place their energy into the shifting winds of her moods instead of the solid ground of their purpose, and then they wonder why they feel empty, lost, unsteady. Brother, listen to me. Purpose is oxygen. Without it, you suffocate. A woman can walk away and it will hurt, but if you lose your mission, you lose yourself. And no relationship, no validation, no fleeting comfort can fill that void. So when she pulls back, when her energy cools, when she acts like you no longer matter, this is not your cue to panic. It's your cue to pivot. It's the alarm bell that says, wake up. Reclaim your focus. Redirect your fire. Ask yourself, what have you been neglecting while chasing her attention? What goals have you postponed? What dreams have you left to gather dust? Because if you're honest, you'll often find that in trying to make her happy, you've abandoned the very things that once made you strong, attractive, and alive. Now is the time to bring them back. Write them down, not on your phone, not in your head, but on paper where you can see them. Be specific. What kind of body do you want to build in the next 12 months? What income? What skills? What friendships? What places do you want to stand in 1 year from now? Clarity is power. Vague dreams never move you. Clear goals command action. And then you break them down, day by day, step by step. You wake an hour earlier to read. You put in the reps at the gym, even when your body resists. You study at night, while others numb themselves with distractions. Every small act becomes a declaration. My mission is not negotiable. Understand, this discipline is freedom. The more you commit to your goals, the less her moods can shake you. Her silence won't suffocate you because you already breathe with purpose. Her distance won't destroy you because your focus keeps you grounded. You stop depending on her attention to feel alive because your mission becomes the source of your fire. And here's the irony: when you live like this, you stop chasing, and that's when attraction flows back. Women are not drawn to men who orbit their emotions. They are drawn to men who orbit a purpose. A man who knows where he is going becomes magnetic, not because he tries to be, but because direction is rare. But this must be clear. You don't focus on your goals to get her back. You do it to get yourself back. If she regrets losing you, let that be her lesson. But for you, this is not about revenge. This is about alignment. It's about building a life so solid that no rejection, no silence, no absence can shake it. Think of the men history remembers, not because of who they dated, but because of what they built. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. They didn't waste themselves chasing approval. They left behind words and wisdom because they chose purpose over distraction. And now, centuries later, we still speak their names. So ask yourself, what will be remembered of you? that you lost yourself in the silence of a woman who couldn't decide what she wanted, or that you used that silence to sharpen yourself to build something unshakable, to become a man who lived with discipline and clarity? The answer lies in your daily actions, in the goals you write, the habits you forge, the boundaries you honor. Every time you choose purpose over panic, every time you choose progress over chasing, you breathe deeper, you rise higher, and one day, when she sees you again, whether in person through a screen or simply through the whispers of those who know you, she'll realize what she lost. But by then, you won't be waiting. You'll already be too far ahead, living a life so full, so rich, so aligned that her absence barely registers. Because in the end, your life was never meant to be measured by her moods. It was meant to be measured by your mission. And when you live like that, when you focus relentlessly on your goals, you stop being a man she once knew, and you become the man you were always meant to be. 9. Don't chase her. Every man who has ever cared deeply for a woman knows this feeling. She pulls back, her warmth cools, and suddenly you feel her slipping through your fingers. The instinct rises fast. It screams at you to do something. Text her more. Call her. Show up with flowers. Prove to her that you care. But let me say this plainly, chasing her only confirms her control. The moment you chase, you send a silent message that her absence is more powerful than your presence. And once you do that, you've already surrendered the frame. You've told her without words, you decide my worth. I will dance until you notice me again. That is not love. That is not strength. That is slavery. The Stoics warned us against this very trap. They taught that when you hand control of your peace to another person, you are no longer free. And brother, if you cannot stand in freedom, then you cannot stand as a man. Let me tell you why chasing is so dangerous. At first you believe it's about loyalty, persistence, or showing how much she means to you. But underneath, it's desperation. It's fear. It's the boy inside you who never learned to feel whole without someone else's approval. And women, whether consciously or not, can sense this. They feel the difference between a man who chooses them and a man who needs them. The first creates respect. The second kills it. So, what should you do instead? You redirect. When she withdraws, you don't run after her footsteps. You turn your gaze forward toward yourself, your mission, your growth. You let her silence become the fuel that drives you harder, sharper, stronger. Instead of begging for her attention, you build a life that doesn't require it. Picture this: she pulls back expecting you to chase. But instead of filling her inbox, you fill your schedule with training, with work, with discipline. While she waits for signs of your collapse, she sees progress. She sees a man who grows in her absence, who doesn't crumble, who doesn't beg. And that contrast unsettles her, because she expected drama, and you gave her stillness. She expected weakness, and you gave her strength. But hear me clearly, this is not about playing games. It's not about pretending not to care or trying to manipulate her into coming back. That still puts her at the center of your life. No, this is about reclaiming your dignity. It's about showing yourself that your worth has never been tied to her responses. You chase nothing. You hold steady. You live in alignment with who you are becoming. Real men don't beg. Real men don't plead for someone to return. Real men walk with the calm awareness that love cannot be forced and respect cannot be begged for. It must be earned, freely given. If she withholds it, let her go. Because the one thing you must never trade for anyone's affection is your self-respect. And here's the irony. When you stop chasing, you flip the script. Suddenly, she is the one faced with the silence. She is the one left wondering, why isn't he fighting for me? Why isn't he desperate like the others? And in that moment, she sees you differently. Not as another man who bends for her moods, but as a man who stands firm no matter what. That is the kind of strength that lingers in her memory, whether she admits it or not. The Stoics would call this living with inner discipline, choosing to remain anchored while the world shifts around you. And make no mistake, this discipline is rare. Most men fold under pressure. Most men beg when they should breathe. But if you can master yourself, if you can resist the urge to chase, you step into a category of manhood that few ever reach. So the next time she pulls away, remember this. Don't chase. Don't prove. Don't plead. Redirect. Rise. Rebuild. Let your progress do the speaking. Let your silence carry the weight of your dignity. Because at the end of the day, chasing a woman is not just about her. It's about you. It's about who you decide to be when faced with rejection. Will you be the man who collapses or the man who conquers himself? The choice, as always, is yours. If there is one truth I want you to carry with you after these 9 lessons, it is this: where your strength as a man is not proven in how much you can chase or cling. It is proven in how firmly you can stand, even when everything around you shifts. We began by reminding ourselves that leveling up is the only revenge worth taking. Success, growth, discipline. These leave no scars, only respect. We spoke about the battle inside your own mind, the inner dialogue that can either tear you down or lift you higher. We faced the silence that once felt like punishment and reframed it as clarity. We examined the power of your circle, the voices you allow near your soul, and why redefining that circle may be the difference between sinking and rising. We reminded ourselves that the most powerful message is not spoken, but lived. Transformation and indifference speak louder than anger ever could. We discovered that sometimes doing nothing, choosing stillness instead of reaction, is the truest sign of mastery. Then we turned toward redirection, learning to replace her energy without apology, reclaiming what was once wasted and investing it in purpose, friends, and growth. We elevated the call to something higher, focusing relentlessly on your goals. Your mission is oxygen, and without it, you suffocate. No woman, no silence, no rejection should ever come before the fire that keeps you alive. And finally, we faced the hardest truth: never chase. Because the moment you chase, you confirm her control. Real men don't beg, they redirect. And now, brother, I ask you, what will you do with this? Will you go back to old patterns, waiting, hoping, begging for scraps of attention? Or will you step forward, sharper, calmer, more disciplined than before? The choice defines the man you become. If this message struck something deep within you, then let's continue this journey together. Remember to subscribe to this channel so you never miss the truths that society hides from men. Hit that like button to let me know this resonated. Share this video with another man who needs to hear it, and drop a comment below. Let me know which lesson hit you hardest, or which one you're ready to apply, starting today. This isn't just about watching videos, it's about building a brotherhood of men who rise with purpose, who guard their dignity, who live with discipline. And in the next video, we will go even deeper, exploring the kind of strength that not only transforms relationships, but reshapes your entire life. So, stand tall, stay disciplined, and remember, your power is yours.